It's here. It's Gunther and Ben on Utah's #1 sports talk, ESPN 700.
In my bag now, in my bag now.
Gunther Ben, ESPN 700, 3:30. Kyle Gunther, Ben Anderson. We're hanging out live at the Green Pig, 51 East, 400 South in downtown Salt Lake City. Stop on by. Major League Baseball games coming on tonight, little NBA basketball as the season opens up. Come on by the Green Pig. Got to be 21 years or older. Grab yourself some food and some drinks and enjoy the games. Let's welcome in our next guest. You'll remember him as the pass-rushing superstar who has really dominated college football over the past couple of years now, including the Utes earlier this season. Has a good matchup coming up with BYU in 2 weeks from Northern Illinois. It is defensive end Sutton Smith. Sutton, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Sutton.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Man, we really enjoyed watching you play against Utah. You're such an explosive player. You have such a relentless motor. You're fun to watch. When did you realize you were a good pass rusher? Had you always been a defensive end or outside rusher type guy?
Oh, God, no. I was starting off as a running back, and I kind of hit a guy in practice because the quarterback fumbled the football, and they kind of moved me right then after that. And I started off at linebacker, and basically they brought a few guys down to rush the passer for some blitzes and different types of pressures and whatnot. And they saw me rush the passer one time, and I guess the rest was history. They fell in love, and they told me you're going to D end, and I was like, oh great, I'm 6 foot, let's go.
Well, yeah, running back to linebacker is a pretty natural transition because your size at 6 feet tall, 225, is probably ideal for a running back or a linebacker. But, yeah, moving up to the defensive end, what was that like for you?
It was crazy. I had to gain some weight. So right now I'm sitting at probably around 240, 238 to 240. You got to deal with those big bodies and whatnot. But it was kind of cool, but it's also kind of crazy because you're naturally faster than the offensive tackles mostly, and you're quicker, but not necessarily stronger than them. But it kind of gives you a little bit of a leverage and advantage on them just because of the speed and the quickness. So it falls into my favor a little bit, but it also could fall into their favor if they're fast, strong, and whatnot. But it's fun though. I like it.
Was that a big challenge to gain that weight, or are you a pretty regimented guy? I mean, what's your daily caloric intake?
Oh, it's I'm roughly around 5,000 to 6,000 calories average a day, just based off of protein shakes and meals and different types of meals throughout the day. It was hard to gain the weight because my natural body type isn't for a DN, but I'm sitting at a real linebacker's weight right now, so it's It's not like it shouldn't have happened. I'm right where I should be, I think.
Are you surprised at the national attention you get playing at Northern Illinois, which is not, it's certainly a good football school and known for being a good football school, but really you're getting national praise. I mean, you're doing a radio show in Utah, not that we're a big deal, but your name has really spread across the country.
It's cool. It's humbling in a lot of ways because, you don't want to get a big head and all that sort of stuff. You want to, stay focused on what you need to do and stay focused on all the little things because that's truly what gets people what they want, but it sets them up in a good position to do what they need to do to be successful, and that's what I've been trying to do. And I guess it's hitting people's their desks, and I guess it's pretty cool. I don't know. It's awesome.
What do you remember most about the matchup you had a few weeks back with Utah and their offensive line?
Oh, man, they got a great offensive line. They're a bunch of big guys. They move well. They're a good football team, and, they beat us at fair and square. But, they're really good. They had some hard-nosed football players on their O-line, and their running back and quarterback, I mean, they're like a dynamic duo. So they're pretty crazy, and it was fun to be able to play up against those that type of caliber of an offense. So it was fun.
Your schedule is crazy. As we talked to Sutton Smith, the defensive end for Northern Illinois, they're going to be taking on BYU coming up here after the bye week. But you played Iowa and Utah to start the year. Then you played Florida State. You've got BYU coming up. You get to play Miami before the end of the season. I mean, that's a very unusual schedule from somebody out of your conference. Is that something you got excited for?
Oh yeah, I mean, like you guys are seeing, there's a lot of national publicity right there. So for us as a football team, we're licking our chops because we want to play with the best people in the country. It's not like we want to play like lower end teams like FBS schools, like Division I AA schools. We want to play the best teams. That's how we look at it. And Utah was a great opportunity. They're a great football team, and it's just fun to be able to play talent that is equally, if not better than you guys, than us. It's really fun.
Well, you guys are coming off a bye week, so you've had some extra time to watch BYU, although their offense changed a lot last week, putting in a new quarterback. How does that change your game plan as a pass rusher? How do you rush these two quarterbacks differently, or do you?
There's some I can't reveal everything, but you obviously change a little bit of a game plan based on the two different quarterbacks that I saw. That one was out for that game, or he went out for something, and obviously they're two different guys. So you got to prepare equally, if not the same. I mean, you have to prepare equally for both quarterbacks because you never know what you're going to get. Because they could come out with a whole different thing that this quarterback hasn't shown in previous games, and you got to be ready for it. So it's just kind of like preparing for the worst, hoping for the best. So that's how we kind of look at it.
Sutton Smith's our guest, ESPN 700. So what have you seen from BYU as you start to break them down with the bye week?
Oh man, they're a great football team. They're very hard nosed. They're tough. They look like they're they look like they're pretty. They're a big team. From film is what I can see. But it's going to be a fun game. They got pretty talented back, and the quarterbacks. Whatever they figure that out. I mean, they're both pretty talented. So, I mean, we're going to have our hands full, but it's going to be a really fun game, I mean, I think our defense is ready, and I think that we're going to, have some fun out there. Both teams are, I mean, it's going to be a fun game, and it's honestly, it's going to be a great time.
Do you think about wanting to get more footage as a linebacker? I mean, you've got the skills, obviously, to play at the next level. You're probably going to have to play linebacker, though, at that spot. Is that something you've thought about this year or maybe next year?
Yeah, I've thought about it. It's cool and all to think about that stuff, at this time, but it's also what can I do to get better at my craft right now? Because obviously, I guess I don't want to move forward in the NFL teams, but NFL teams are probably going to want to utilize my pass rushing ability in some way, form, or fashion. And so I'm going to focus on that as of right now to help my team. After that, we'll see what happens. I can't wait to learn more about what I need to do to become a great linebacker or a great 3-4 linebacker or whatever they want me at, or for God knows if they put me at defensive end in the NFL. You never know. I don't know what's going to be the future, so I'm just trying to prepare for everything. You know what I mean?
He's the defensive end specialist superstar for Northern Illinois. Sutton Smith going to take on BYU coming up here in just a couple of weeks after the bye week. Sutton, really great stuff. Thanks for joining us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Sutton.
There he is, Sutton Smith, giving us a good breakdown. That's one of the kids that, that's the type of kid that Utah kind of, made their hay on for so long. Those types of players, undersized, obviously under-recruited, a good athlete. You take on the offensive side of the ball, you move him over to the defensive side of the ball, and you just find a way to get him on the field.
Yeah, and he's maximized his own talent. Love his attitude there, and he and BYU are going to have a fun matchup here in a couple of weeks. Both teams coming off a bye. They'll have some extra time to prepare for each other, but there's no way to prepare for Sutton Smith. Utah watched film on him. They couldn't block him. Utah's offensive line has played pretty well this past year. BYU's offensive line has played well this year. There's some comparisons there. I think Utah's tackles have played better than BYU's, but Christensen, the freshman left tackle for BYU, he's been pretty sensational. Brady Christensen, he's got long arms. He's going to have his hands full with Sutton Smith. Sutton Smith just plays hard, and that motor is not something you see from a lot of players. I think the average fan thinks, well, everybody can play hard. Well, no, they can't. People get tired. Having a motor is a skill set.
Yeah, it's a real skill.
A lot of guys don't have a motor. A lot of guys are good for 2 or 3 plays in a row, and then they got to take a play off. Sutton Smith, maybe he doesn't have that top-end size or speed that can scare you, but he's going to go hard 4 plays out of 4 or 5 plays out of 5, whatever it is. Not a lot of guys do that. It's like people say, oh, trash talking is not a skill. Anybody can trash talk. No, you cannot.
Yeah.
Because once you get tired, those lips don't want to move the same way. So when you have somebody like John Randall, the NFL Hall of Fame D-tackle, who was about 6'1", 250 pounds, playing D-tackle. This is a generation ago, but still, something tells me nobody be blocking John Randall much this past year either. Anyways, John Randall never stopped talking the whole game. It's terrifying. Steve Smith, former Ute wide receiver, NFL Hall of Fame caliber player, he never shut up the entire time.
Aaron Donald's not getting there on having superior size, In fact, he and Ndamukong Suh are maybe the two most opposite players at their positions. They just happen to play right next to each other because everyone knows Ndamukong Suh takes plays off. He takes drives off, but then he will get you that one time when he really needs to. Aaron Donald just never stops. He just goes and goes and goes and has that incredible motor. And, yeah, he's, 40 pounds less than Ndamukong Suh? Maybe not quite that much, but he's nowhere near the size of a guy like Ndamukong Suh and still dominates and, in fact, is a significantly better player at this point.
Von Miller takes the whole first half off.
Yeah.
He does not play hard in the first half, and that's fine because Von Miller in the third and fourth quarter is unblockable for Denver at times, but Sutton Smith's not quite there. But he's a dang good player. He's fun to watch, and BYU's going to have their hands full with him. If I'm calling plays for BYU, anytime Zach Wilson drops back, that needs to be a 3-step drop. The ball needs to get out quick because even if you have a good offensive line, they're not going to block Sutton Smith. So BYU can't get in a position where they need to throw. They need to run the football. They need Squally Canada to be healthy. Zach Wilson will make a few throws, and then he'll get outside the pocket. But that's a tough matchup, anybody trying to stop Sutton Smith.
ESPN 700 presents Beer, Bourbon, and Barbecue on Saturday, October 27th at the Gateway. That's a week from Saturday. Admission is free. Attendees will be able to purchase food and drink from 5 local breweries, 5 local distilleries, and 5 local barbecue joints. You can wear your costume. You can bring your kids, throw their costumes on. Don't try and fit in your kid's costume. You're going to be too big for that. But enjoy the entertainment from local DJs and even karaoke. Beer, bourbon, and barbecue Saturday, October 27th from 4 to 10 at the Gateway. Get more info at ESPN700sports.com. When we come back, football at 50. We're going to be breaking down last night's NFL game, look at some of the big stories from the National Football League. Gunther and Ben, Utah's #1 Sports Talk, ESPN 700.